Hi guys, and welcome to Mrs. Wheat's Wild World of English 11 Week 6. We made it. We made it to the very end. I hope you guys have had a great week, but let's go ahead and get started. Now, our objective for today is a carryover from last week, which is writing W11.1, where we will be able to write arguments to support claims in an analysis of substantive topics or text using valid reasoning and relevant and sufficient evidence. So this is making a claim, backing it up with textual evidence, and trying in a way that will actually persuade someone to actually believe or follow the way of your thinking. So we have some good news today. Do you want free food or a t-shirt? Everybody loves free things. This is what you guys need to do. Be prepared to answer a question towards the end of today's lesson. Now, you can go ahead and write down the email address now and email your answers at the end of the show to mcpsstv@mcpss.com. Now, again, we're going to be giving away some Chick-fil-A meals and some t-shirts. So go ahead and write that down, mcpsstv@mcpss.com. If you didn't get it all, I'll display it later on in our lesson. So basically what we are doing today is we are doing argumentative writing in a paragraph. Last week we learned some things about writing argumentatively. We learned how to argue effectively. Now again, everyone knows how to argue, but can you actually argue effectively enough to be able to win the argument? So last week we talked about parts of a paragraph. So we're going to review those really quickly today in order for us to be able to use within today's lesson. So if you look at the top thing, it says thesis or topic statement, which is your sentence with a subject or opinion. That is your main claim that you are arguing. So whatever question that you guys are asked to answer or to respond to, you're going to flip that around, make it into a statement, and then that is going to be your claim that you will be defending. Secondly, concrete details. You must have facts or evidence to be able to back up your claim. How do we know what you're saying is actually true? You need to be able to make sure that you pull that information from the text or prior knowledge to be able to place it within the paragraph in order for you to be able to give your claim that much needed support. Next, commentary. Commentary, again, is you're showing why or how that particular evidence that you have given with the concrete detail is necessary. Now, this is your opinion. Now, remember, when writing formally, you're not supposed to write in first person. So there should be I, but there should not be I believe, I think, or anything of that nature. So your commentary, again, is not a concrete detail, but it is your opinion explaining the concrete detail and its importance. The next part is a counter-argument. Remember last week we discussed it a little bit, but we didn't get into a whole lot of detail. But that counter-argument is where you acknowledge the opposing side's argument. So what is it that the opposing side would use against your argument to try to debunk your claim? All right? So if you address it before they do, they don't have a chance to argue it. So again, you win the argument. Now, you must always end your paragraph with a concluding sentence. And basically, you want to wrap it up. It usually is the last sentence of the paragraph. And you repeat your thesis statement in key words, but just not all of it exactly as it's written as your thesis statement. So you're going to kind of reword it a little bit, but keep those key ideas. All right, so your paragraph, especially when writing argumentatively, is we really want you guys not to write any sentences less than 7 sentences. All right, remember, we are not in elementary where that 3 to 5 sentences goes forth. We want a good, strong, solid, argumentative paragraph. And so this is a frame that you guys could use. The first sentence should always be your thesis or your topic sentence. The second sentence should be a concrete detail, your reason number 1. Next, your commentary. You're explaining reason number 1. Now, the sentence starters that you can use with this that are very good, that are sometimes easier to lead on, is this shows that, or this is because, and then of course you put your own words within that. Next, you have another concrete detail, your reason number 2. Your commentary, explaining reason number 2, using those same sentence starters, your counter argument, and then your concluding sentence. Now, if we were writing an argumentative essay, say for instance that's a 5 to a 7 paragraph essay and not just the simple paragraph, of course these would actually turn into paragraphs instead of sentences. Now, here's an example of what an argumentative paper or argumentative paragraph looks like. Let's read together. Follow along. School uniforms should be mandatory for all students for a number of reasons. First, they make everyone equal. In this way, the rich kids are on the same level as the poor ones. In addition, getting ready for school can be much faster and easier. Many kids waste time choosing what to wear to school, and they are often unhappy with their final choices. Most important, some studies show that school uniforms make students perform better. Many people might say that uniforms take away from personal freedom, but I believe that the benefits are stronger than the drawbacks. Now, even within that very small paragraph, all right, you're able to find the first concrete detail. You're actually able to find the claim, which is school uniforms should be mandatory for all students. The first concrete detail is they make everyone equal. The commentary explaining that the rich kids are on the same level as the poor ones. All right. In addition, which is your next concrete detail, getting ready for school can be much faster and easier. The commentary, many kids waste time choosing what to wear to school and are often unhappy with their final choices. And then this one actually gives a third reason. Most important, some studies show that school uniforms make students perform better. All right? So it doesn't have to only be one sentence with the commentary. It can be 2. It can be 3. It really does not matter, as long as it is explaining that piece of evidence that you gave prior to. The counter argument in this is many people might say that uniforms take away from personal freedom. This is your counter argument. This is what the opposing side may say to try to refute your claim. But I believe that the benefits are stronger than the drawbacks. Now, this individual actually wrote this using first person in the word I, but there's different ways that you could actually reword that without putting yourself in there. Because what happens is when someone sees, I believe, I think, in my opinion, people are going to be very biased. And they don't want to know your opinion. They don't want to know what you think. They want to know the accurate facts. So be very, very careful with that. Now, in the past few weeks, we have begun discussing all the things such as identifying theme and tone. We talked about space cat. We talked about sifting through it to be able to find those rhetorical choices, okay? Now, in order for you to be able to write argumentatively, you have to be able to look at all of these things in rhetorical analysis. You have to take these things into consideration. You are the speaker. You have to identify what your purpose is, who your audience is going to be, what's the context, what's the exigence, what choices are you going to use, how are you going to appeal to the audience, and what tone are you going to write it in. So just as easily as us being able to identify these rhetorical choices in someone else's piece, you have to take these things into consideration, all right? So we're going to look at a writing prompt work along. And this is a writing prompt, and this is what we are going to work on together. So the prompt is a work along, so follow along as I read it, and then at the end we're going to be giving a prompt that we're actually going to have to answer. And we are going to write an argumentative paragraph together. All right, so fast food franchises are installing outlets in some high schools, selling hamburgers, fried chicken, tacos, fries, and soda. Many soda companies already pay a great deal of money to be allowed to install soda machines in high schools. The money from these commercial ventures helps pay for athletic equipment, field trips, and audio-visual equipment. On the other hand, fast food is greatly contributing to the epidemic of obesity among America's youth. Placing fast food outlets in schools encourages students to eat food that is high in salt, fat, and empty calories. In your opinion, should fast food franchises be allowed in high schools? Now, that is our prompt that we are going to be working about. So I want you to think about your opinion about that. What is your opinion? All right? So what do you do first? All right? That's the thing that we really have to try to figure out. You have been given your prompt. You have been giving all of the background information with the piece of text that they have given you. So what do you do first? Now we're going to return to our space cat. You're the speaker. Your purpose is to argue or to make a claim. The audience is the powers that be. Who changes the rules about school lunches? All right, the context. What is going on in society to make this relevant today? The exigence. Why now? If you're going to argue that these lunches should be given to students, why now? What's the importance of it being right now? Choices. Again, what rhetorical choices will you make? How will you make that connection with that peel? Will it be ethos, logos, or pathos? And then tone. What tone will you write in? Those are very important. Now, again, this is our fast food work along. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on. And we're going to look at the paragraph frame again. So our first one is going to be a thesis statement. Then we're going to come back with a concrete detail, commentary, concrete detail, another piece of commentary, the counter argument, and then the concluding sentence. So we are actually going to use this particular writing prompt, all right? And we're going to create a paragraph that will include all of these things. Next. All right, so we must begin. So our thesis question, okay, our question, our prompt. Should fast food franchises be allowed in high schools? Now, I'm sorry about that. There is a typo. So that just lets you know that I am human just like you guys. So the second should, just act like it's not there. All right, so should fast food franchises be allowed in high schools? So what is your opinion about that? So you have to make your claim. If you are arguing for fast food franchises to be within your school, then you would say fast food franchises should be allowed in high schools. Now you can elaborate on that and make it a lot longer if you'd like. All right? If you believe that fast food franchises should not be in the high schools, then that's exactly what you would put. And nowhere within that claim or that thesis statement is the word I. So look at this. Fast food franchises should be allowed in high schools to sell a variety of foods as an alternative to school-provided lunches. You have taken that really small sample prompt and turned it into a decent sentence. It is making a claim, so your readers immediately know exactly what you are trying to say. All right? So what's next? Concrete detail. What can we use from the text to support our claim? So I deciphered kind of back through there, and this is what I came up with. Many soda companies already pay a great deal of money to be allowed to install soda machines in high schools. Bam! I know that immediately I can use that information in my text. All right? It's having to deal with money. So how can I make the connection with the money to make sure that school lunches should have these franchise options? So the next sentence basically told me that. The money from these commercial ventures helps pay for athletic equipment, field trips, and audiovisual equipment. Okay, so that is going to be an appeal. The parents love sports, all right? We love the arts. We want things that kids can actually do, and this actually will help the kids be able to do that. So let's look how we can turn that into the next sentences. There are many reasons as to why fast food franchises would be an excellent option. Firstly, many companies are already investing in many schools and use the money provided to support and fund many programs such as athletics and the arts. So that's basically using the information, rewording it a little bit, and punching it into our paragraph to use it as our first piece of text. So we have used, from our work along, this right here already. We haven't directly quoted it, but we have basically went on and used it and reworded it and made it into our own. And we've come up with this. All right, moving on. Now, with the commentary. So I am going to be explaining reason number one. So we have it, firstly, many companies are already investing, so forth and so on. So I'm going to use the sentence starter, this shows that. So basically, what does this show? It shows that there are benefits to providing fast food options as a way to raise funds for programs who may be non-existent without the necessary funds. This is because when schools have to make those necessary budget cuts, athletics and the arts are always the first programs cut. So you are telling why this piece of information right here is so important. And you're using it in your own words. So that's your commentary. And basically you're talking about it. All right? So we just add that as the next sentences to our paragraph. All right, concrete detail number 2. I looked at what was in that particular paragraph, and then I thought about it, well, dang, that first sentence could be important also. But I had to figure out how to be able to use it. Now, that first sentence was, fast food franchises are installing outlets in some high schools selling hamburgers, fried chicken, tacos, fries, and soda. So that's a lot of things. So basically, what is that sentence talking about? Well, it's talking about options. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So you have to use those transitional words going into explaining something else. Well, since we use firstly on the first one, we'll use secondly on the next one. So this is what we came up with. Secondly, fast food franchises give students options. So much food is wasted with traditional school lunches because they are not that appealing to most students, and students throw it away uneaten or choose not to eat at all. All right, so of course now, this is when we come to the commentary on that. So we're explaining, we're talking about what that is. I use the sentence starter, this shows that. This shows that people in general like options. Think about the food court at the malls. Deciding what to eat will allow students to eat more regularly and not waste as much food. All right, so that's our commentary. It's common sense things. So your appeal is going to be logical to the people who are listening. And again, we just add it to the end of that paragraph. Now, here's the counter argument. A lot of you, I'm sure, picked up the counter argument or thinking about what you could say. It said it within the actual prompt itself. It says, on the other hand, fast food is greatly contributing to the epidemic of obesity among America's youth. Placing fast food outlets in schools encourages students to eat food that is high in salt, fat, and empty calories. So I'm just going to use that and I'm going to rewrite it, all right, to make it my counter argument. So I am going to argue their claim before they have a chance to argue it, and then we're going to actually debunk or refute what they have to say, because if we answer the question before they have a chance to answer it, then there's no opposition. Some may argue that fast food is greatly contributing to the epidemic of obesity among America's youth and encourages students to eat foods high in fat, salt, and empty calories. Although there are some unhealthy choices when it comes to fast food, it does not mean that healthy options are not available. On the contrary, there are tons of fast food options that taste good, are desired by many and healthy. Having options does not have to be a choice between good and bad. All right, so that is our counter argument. We have pulled that argument's power, and therefore they have nothing left to argue. Now, in conclusion, when we wrap it up, I'm basically going to use that thesis statement, but change it around and use those key words. In conclusion, having the choice of healthy, fulfilling, tasteful fast food options can be beneficial to not only the health and well-being of students, but provide monetary support to those much needed sports and arts programs. Therefore, allowing fast food franchise options should be allowed in schools today. Now, you did it. It was that simple. We did it together. Now, I have no doubt that we will actually be able to do it together, or you will be able to do it when you're on your own. Now, this is also, after our work that we have done today, what our argumentative paragraph should actually look like. I'm very proud of you guys. You guys have been working exceptionally hard, all right? And now it's time for the goodies. Now, you want a free food or a t-shirt? Answer the following question and email your answers into mcpsstv@mcpss.com, all right, right away for your chance to win those Chick-fil-A meals and the t-shirts. So here is the question, guys. What is a counter-argument, and why is it important when writing argumentatively? What is a counter-argument, and why is it important when writing argumentatively? Write those answers down, shoot an email, make sure that you put your first name and your last name within your email, and make sure that you get your chance in to win. We all like food. All right, guys, so we're going to recap our time. Over these past 6 weeks, these are the things that you guys have mastered doing. You've mastered identifying theme. You have sifted through the text to complete a complete analysis. You have identified and analyzed the rhetorical choices. You understand the why, the what, and the how of an argumentative text. And you've also learned how to write an effective argumentative essay, guys. It has been an amazing 6 weeks with you guys, and I look forward to possibly seeing you guys within the near future. It's never goodbye. It's always until we meet again. Have an amazing summer, guys. And remember, writing is key.